Great. Well, it's 12 o'clock, so I'll kick off. So hello, thank you all so much for coming along today. It's really exciting for us because today is our first webinar for Today's Media. And from now on, every 8 weeks, we're going to be hosting webinars all around how to use different forms of content marketing and how you can use it to basically help your legal business grow. So I'm Lindsay, I work in Today's Media, and we are the publishers for free online journals. So you may have heard of them. It's Today's Conveyancer, Today's Wills and Probate, and Today's Family Lawyer. I'm a content writing specialist, and I work with a range of law firms and legal suppliers to produce and deliver all of their content needs, whether that be blogs, articles, or white papers, or even e-shots, just any form of content really. So a little bit more about me. I've got 14 years experience in marketing, and I've worked across a variety of sectors during that time. So with today being our first one, I just want to go into the general benefits of content marketing and how you can use it in practice. And then I'll discuss what we're going to be looking at in our upcoming webinars at the end. The webinar will last around 15 minutes, and I'm going to stay on after the presentation and answer any questions. So if you've got any questions, please just pop them in the chat down the side, and then I'll do my best to answer them once we're at the end of the webinar. So let's get started. So the benefits of content marketing and how we can use it in practice. So let's have a look at what we'll be covering today. So what is content marketing? Why is it so popular? How content marketing can help you? How you can use it in practice, and then we're going to look at the producing content and then the pros around ready-made content. And at Today's Media, we're experts in producing ready-made content. So at this stage, I'm going to go through how we can help you with our ready-made content. So let's have a look at what is content marketing. So I think we need to break that down a little bit first and understand what content is. Content is anything really. It can be video, it can be an image, it can be an article, it can even be a webinar or a podcast. All these forms of content are used to provide the consumer with information or for an entertainment value to make them choose your product or your service. So it's simple, really. It's about creating a valuable and relevant and consistent content that can not only attract new customers, but, more importantly, it can retain a customer and build a loyal bond with some of your, existing customers. So we'll come on to more about that later, about customer loyalty. So in recent years, there's been lots of changes to the marketing mix and how we use media. So these kind of changes have been, traditional marketing such as adverts between Coronation Street, television marketing and double page spreads in magazines are less prominent now in the marketing mix. And, some may say less valuable and, even more less effective because let's face it, leaflets and magazines, they're just going, we don't tend to use them as much. Whereas the internet has really catapulted content marketing to become mainstream, and traditional media such as these kind of leaflets and adverts and television advertising, because everything's become more digital, has started to lose its power. And as we move through the 20s, people want to be targeted with more timely and tailored messages that don't interrupt their busy day. So content marketing is based on permission. People come to you for that information. They're seeking out that information. They want to know that information. Whereas traditional marketing now is for us, it's quite interruptive. You're putting yourself in front of that person. They don't necessarily want to see that. You've chosen to be there in front of them. And this past year has taught us that connecting digitally is really the only way, meaning that an online presence has never been more important. And, from a B2B perspective, with people working from home more, there's a lot less opportunity to network, especially whilst, we've seen this in the past year with the pandemic, and meaning that people are really thirsty for that relevant content at their fingertips that they can just access digitally. We've seen evidence in this in our publications as the subscribers and visitors to our site have rocketed in this past year. since we first launched it. So we're seeing that firsthand. So let's take a look at why content marketing is so good. Well, every business wants to hear it's cost effective, isn't it? It's great for your bottom line. You can also shout about how good you are, and this demonstrates your authority and credibility on a subject. And this is really important in the legal sector. You want to create an authoritative voice and be credible for what you're offering to your client. It can also influence conversions and get people over that line at the end to choose your service, to choose your product. It can also increase your Google search via SEO to help you climb the ranks, so that when people are searching around a particular topic, you're one of the highest providers there. And as I mentioned before, it's really important when it comes to existing customers. You want to strengthen those relationships and build a loyalty, as existing customers really are the bread and butter of your business. So let's have a look at how content marketing can help your business and really drill down into the reasons. So number one, we'll look at authority and credibility. Number two, we'll have a little look at SEO. 3, customer loyalty. And 4, really important, getting lead generation. So let's drill down into these. So let's have a look at authority and credibility. If your content is helpful and it's informative for your readers, it will help customers view you as the thought leader on that subject. And it gives you you're like a credible source of information for that topic. So as an example, from a consumer's point of view, if I was going to buy a house, there's nothing really to differentiate solicitors for me, unless I've been recommended one or I use the first one that pops up on the Google search. However, content can be used to establish credibility by providing information that is useful to me, giving me more of the conviction to choose that firm because I see them as a credible source for what I want to do. SEO. So Google loves content, and search engines such as Google will trawl the internet for thought-provoking and rich, informative content. If your content hits the right notes, then you'll climb the search rank. There's also lots of technical considerations to take here when it comes to frequency and also keywords. You need to be able to weave keywords naturally through your content so that Google will recognize it. So as I mentioned before, customer loyalty is huge when it comes to content, and also our businesses. We want those repeat customers. They are the bread and butter of the business. We cannot forget about those customers. Content provides value for your customer base. It will inevitably strengthen the bond and encourage repeat sales and further establish your authority. We hear from our clients regularly that they don't keep in touch with their customers enough. So for example, law can be really a one-stop purchase. I might go somewhere just for my conveyancing needs or just to make a will. But if we just engaged a little bit more with those existing customers and used content, we could then inform them more about the other services that we offer, which means that you wouldn't become that one-stop purchase anymore. They'll know that you offer a whole range of products. And generating leads, so it's pretty useless thinking about all these other things and getting all the people to your site if they don't have the conviction to buy from you. However, content marketing can do just that. So we're going to have a look at the 3 stages here. It brings us nicely on to look at this. So before a lead is generated, a potential client will go through 3 stages before they buy a service or a product. So the first one is awareness. They have a problem that needs solving. So for example, I want to release some equity from my home, for instance, because I want to enable my children to get on the property ladder. Simple. Number 2, consideration. they need to take the time to research how to serve this, how to solve this equity release problem. It's quite a big decision and it needs some thought. And as a consumer, equity release, it's quite complicated. As a consumer, I wouldn't know where to start with it. So I need to understand how it would work. How much can I release? What from my house? Are there any fees involved? Also, how much would my children get from it? There's lots of questions around it that I would want to know. So it's definitely something as a consumer I'm going to need to put my research into. Then comes the decision. So they'll make a choice based on finding the solution to their problem. So after researching and Googling around equity release, I find a company with a blog that has lots of information around the equity release topic. So step-by-step guides, etc. So I'm probably more inclined to choose them because I trust what they're talking about. I'm already on their website, so they're just one click away from me inquiring about equity release. So, and also when it comes to equity release firms, they offer independent legal advice, and this would be a good aspect to shout about in content. It's perfect. So using content in practice, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at some real world examples to, really understand how we can use content in practice and in the real world. So I'm going to take a company here called Rough Guides. They were one of the original players when it comes to producing content for the travel market with their travel guidebooks. So really, if you think about it, they were doing content way before content marketing was really even a thing. They were producing these guides and pushing out content in them. And basically now they're seen as a leader in the travel market with their tailor-made trips. And that's all down to the fact that they are storming it with their content strategy. They show off expertise in blogs. They produce ebooks and online guides that we can download. Their podcasts and videos run daily and weekly on their websites. So we can understand more about their tailor-made trips, but not only the product they sell, also about, the market, the general market of travel. So it's just giving me more conviction to choose them if I want to go and say, book a tailor-made trip. So let's have a look at their homepage here. So as you can see, I've hovered over their blog here and they've got 3 different blogs that pop up. And one of them that's most interesting is the fact that they've got a blog all about Brexit's impact on traveling from Britain. Now, obviously that's really current, really relevant. And the fact that they know their stuff about that, it's just giving me more confidence to find out more about this firm. I'll probably end up clicking on tailor-made trips and then might chuck a few guides in the trolley and then end up inquiring about them because they're just making me feel like they know what they talk about. So next, I've pulled out another example from the legal sector. So as a consumer, I just wanted to understand how long probate would take. So simple, the first thing I'm going to do, and I've been in this position before, I've wanted to know how long probate would take. So the first thing I did, Googled the question, how long does probate take? So as you can see, if you can see on here, it comes up as the third one down. How long does probate take? I'm then taken to a page, and as I scroll down quite a few adverts, I come to 2 companies, Final Duties and Farewell. And both companies are highlighting articles all about how long the probate process takes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take Farewell here, for example. So I clicked on Farewell. As soon as I got to that page, I was hit with a lead generation form. So there was basically a quick tool for a quick estimate for tool for data capture. So basically trying to grab my data just before I read the article. I then read the article, which, by the way, is super informative from a consumer's point of view, really accessible, really easy to read. And I ended up reading right to the bottom because it was just giving me everything I needed to know just within that one article. And as I got to the bottom of the article and scrolled right to the bottom, there were lots of related articles all around that topic. So things that I hadn't even thought about when it comes to probate there was loads more articles there for me to click on. So I can go clicking around, find out all my information. And then when I want a service, I'm probably, again, just going to choose Fairwill because I'm there. They know what they're talking about and they've established authority in that area. And they're also really credible to me. So let's have a think about actually producing content. There's so many good characteristics when it comes to producing content. So let's have a look at a few. So the characteristics of good quality content. It's got to be frequent. So there's no point just doing one and then forgetting about it for a few weeks and then thinking, oh, need to go back to that. It's got to be frequent. You've got to have a presence. It's got to be relevant. So relevant to your area, your expertise. It's also got to be SEO considered. It's got to be accurate. It's also got to be up to date. No one wants to read something that's out of date. An example we had just recently with a client with our content that we produce lots of content around SDLT. And it was pre-budget, and then as soon as the budget came and the extension came, we had to amend it all and update it all. So you've just got to take in those considerations. You've got to make sure that you're updating your content in line with what you offer. It's also got to be weighty, and this especially when it comes to B2B legal content. There's a lot of complexities when it comes to legal and law, as you well know. So, this content, especially when we're talking to, B2B, it needs to make sure we know what we're talking about. So just to go back over those points, there's lots of considerations when producing your own content. So, do I have time to produce frequent and tailored content? One of the main challenges that we hear is that people are just too busy doing their day-to-day role and just haven't got the time to concentrate on writing about, what they actually do. Another thought, you could be earning money advising clients rather than spending that time writing content. The content also needs to be reviewed, proofread, and this all takes time. And as I said before, there might be considerations where you may need to update it at times. Again, more valuable time. The content also needs to be SEO considered. It's no good just throwing lots of keywords at content and hoping for the best. Search engines, as I've mentioned throughout, are really savvy and they recognize this and they home in on rich, informative content. And they also home in on how the words are woven through each piece of content. They've got to appear naturally, not just stuck in certain places. So it's more purposeful, more of a natural piece of writing. And most importantly, it should fit in with your overall strategy so that everything integrates to get your message across. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, as at Today's Media, we're experts in delivering content. So bearing all this in mind and the considerations and requirements of producing quality content, there's lots of pros around having ready-made content. And this is obviously something that we can offer you at Today's Media. So I'm just going to talk now a little bit about how we can help you. And whilst I do that, I'm actually going to pop up a handout here for you to download all about our offering. So I'll just pop that up. Okay. So ready-made content and how we can help you. So as I mentioned, we're the publishers of free legal sector journals, and we are experts at writing for and on behalf of law firms and legal providers. We offer both bespoke and pre-written content to firms for use within their marketing strategies and also within their operations. So our Editor Assist product provides a range of content options, anything from pre-written articles through to bespoke blogs, articles and longer form white papers. Our content will showcase your expertise, create quality leads, and Really importantly, create that customer loyalty through engaging articles. From as little as £99 per month, you could receive topical and relevant SEO considered content to your inbox. We've also got our B2B bespoke articles, which are completely tailored to your individual business. And you can either provide us with themes, or we can have a discussion and put forward some themes, and then we can run with it. So I'm just going to add a poll. So if anybody's interested in hearing more about our content, please just click on the poll and I can come back to you after the webinar. I'm just going to share that now. Okay. Right, so what's next? So every 8 weeks from now, we'll be hosting content marketing webinars, and each session will be going over practical ways on how you can use content as part of your overall marketing strategy. So we'll drill into different parts of content marketing each week, specifically relating to the legal field, as we know how to communicate with this sector. So the next one will be Thursday, the 13th of May. And we'll chat all about LinkedIn marketing and tips on how to boost your profile, how to share content on there, and how to boost your connections. We've also got a really amazing guest speaker coming onto that. It's Rich Dibbins. He's a LinkedIn specialist and he runs Staxton Digital. So he'll be coming along to that. We're also looking at doing a drop-in clinic. So the drop-in clinic will take place on the last Friday of every month, where you can just drop in really and, talk about, anything that you're struggling with content-wise or social-wise. And it's just a little bit of a chat and a how-to with myself. And then we'll try and answer your content sort of queries or any pain points that you might have when it comes to that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be circulating a thank you email after the webinar, and I will put a link into the next webinar and also information about our drop-in clinic if you've got anything that you would like to come to with regards to that. So thank you very much for coming. It was really good to speak to you today, and thank you so much because this was the first one that I've hosted. So it was lovely to have you all here today. If you'd like to contact me directly, I'll leave my contact details up on the screen for a little while. And I'm also on LinkedIn if you would like to find me on there and connect.